Welcome. This is Inner Treasures 108, and I'm going to be reading this afternoon on two topics. One is the Senate race in Texas between Senator Ted Cruz, the incumbent, and the Democratic challenger Beto O'Rourke. I do not live in Texas. This is just something that people are interested in. They've asked me about, so I thought I would do a reading on this. I have lived in Texas in the past, but I haven't lived there in 15 years, so I really have no clue what's going on there. But I do know that people are hoping for a blue wave, and Texas is one of those states that has an incumbent up for re-election. I have combined two decks here. They're decks that do not have, they're cards that don't have meaning. These are soul cards. They're very beautiful cards. I've combined the two decks because although I love them both, one deck seems to have more darker images, and the other deck seems to have more lighter images. So I'm just combining the two. I'll split these decks in two, and they're a little bit difficult to deal with because the decks are so thick. So I'm going to split the decks in two. And this first half of the deck split is for Ted Cruz. What will be the outcome of the Senate race in Texas for Ted Cruz? This reading is actually taking place on Monday, October 29th. What will be the outcome of the Senate race in Texas for Ted Cruz? All right, and let me go ahead and do the cards for Beto O'Rourke before I start talking. What will be the outcome for Beto O'Rourke in the Texas Senate race next week? What will be the outcome for Beto O'Rourke in the Texas Senate race next week? Remember again, these cards have no meanings. I can throw this skeleton card, I don't know if you can see it here, this skeleton card in one reading and read it one way, and throw it in the next reading and read it another way. So I'm really using what energies come to me and through me rather than relying on the cards. These are really just for you to take a look at and see how beautiful these soul cards are. So let's start with Ted Cruz. I think that Ted Cruz is going to win this election. I think that Ted Cruz has some very powerful advisors, and they are working behind the scenes to make sure that he wins. I think there is a little hinkiness here. I think there's a little manipulation of voter rolls, a little voter suppression. This is definitely not a clean win. Even if he wins by a landslide, it's not a clean win. There will always be a shadow over Ted Cruz over this election. I think that while Ted Cruz is very happy that he will be returning to the Senate, I think that there is an issue here as these next 2 years come along, as this first term of President Trump rolls along. I think that Ted is going to be left behind. He and President Trump do not get along, even though they both are being buddy-buddy right now. I think that some of Ted Cruz's supporters are supporters in the public view only and not behind the scenes. And I think he's going to have a very tough time um, in this next 2-year cycle in his job in the Senate. Um, I think that his family is going to have a very difficult time. I don't think his family likes this political life. And I think that it's going to take a toll on Cruz and his family. Now, Beto, um, if it stands that Ted does win this election, Beto is, of course, going to lose. Beto is not going away. He has support, and that support is not going away. I look at this as a Bernie Sanders situation. Um, my feeling is that had things not taken place that should not have taken place, Bernie Sanders would have been the Democratic nominee. I think that there is a real sense that Beto should have won. I think that Beto will be coming back. He is not dead. He is going to rise again, perhaps in a smaller role. Perhaps he is going to be running for a more local office, maybe mayor of the city wherever he lives, maybe the Texas House or Senate, maybe even governor. Beto is not going away, and the sentiments that people have about Beto and his candidacy are not going away. Mr. O'Rourke and others like him will be making great strides toward the next big election. One more card for Ted Cruz, one more for Beto. Yes, Ted is going to feel isolated. I think at some level he knows that he is walking on thin ice with his compadres, and that at any moment they could turn his back on him, and this is making it very difficult for him to mentally function right now. He's almost in a paranoia situation. Beto knows that he's got popular support and that it's not going to go away. He will not go away. We will see him in another role, another election. Beto has a war chest. Just like Ted has a war chest, Beto has a war chest. And those war chests are not going away. People will continue to add to them. So now as I combine these two decks, again, it's a little difficult to deal with them. There's so many cards here. But as I combine these two decks, I'm thinking about the Migrant Caravan and what is happening. How will this turn out? What will the outcome of the Migrant Caravan be? What will the outcome of the Migrant Caravan be? So there are advisors, there are organizers of this migrant caravan. They, for the most part, have good intentions. They want these people to be safe. They want these people to have better lives. These caravan members are not trying to come here illegally. They are coming to seek asylum. I think that the American public, I think that this administration does not understand that they don't want to sneak in under the wall. If they did, they wouldn't be making such a ruckus. They are trying to bring attention to this situation that exists that makes them and their families feel unsafe. There are women, there are children, there are men. I do not believe that there are um, uh, operatives here trying to sneak in as terrorists. If there are, they've been planted just recently. These are men and women looking for better lives for themselves and their children, and it's not being understood well. Um, this is not going to turn out well. This caravan is not going to turn out well. I do believe there will be bloodshed. I believe that um, that things are going to turn very, very bad. Our president is calling on the army, and uh, all it takes is one person with a trigger finger, an itchy trigger finger, to turn this into a bloodbath. If that happens, if women and children die, um, this nation is going to face a crisis, a moral crisis like it hasn't seen in a long, long time, and um, and it's going to tear us apart. There's already an energy of a civil war happening here in this country. Um, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it every day. We're seeing it in synagogue shootings. We're seeing it in um, church shootings. We're seeing it in bombs being nailed. And there seems to be no end in sight. And if this caravan turns to bloodshed, if we have um, uh, an itchy trigger finger on our side that starts a bloodbath, um, the light will go out of uh, many of our citizens' souls. And we already feel that this administration is not listening. We already feel that civility has gone by the wayside here, and um, and look, the outcry will be tremendous, tremendous. Nothing but bad is going to come of this caravan if there is bloodshed. All we have to do is bring these people in, process them as they are asking to be processed, and then say, yes, you can stay, or no, you cannot stay. There need be no bloodshed. And if there is bloodshed, things will get very, very bad for the people in this country. Um, uh, those that feel disenfranchised will feel even more so. Those that are uh, vocal followers of bullies will start to feel that they are being persecuted as well. So persecution begets persecution. Um, Again, I don't think anything good is going to come of this caravan, and if there is bloodshed, things are going to be very, very bad, and the world will condemn us. The world will be confirmed. They're already thinking that we are um, how should I put this? They're already thinking that we have taken a step backwards, or many steps backwards, and we are becoming a fascist nation, a nation guided by self-interest, not concern for our fellow man. So. Um, Another thing is that if the Christian right, who are currently backing President Trump, um, despite his very anti-Christian um, actions and words, they are going to have a huge crisis of consciousness, and they will start losing members. So the Christians need to step up and make um, their voices heard on the side of compassion and love, of sanity. So that's it. That's my reading on both the Texas Senate race and um, uh, the Caravan. My website is innertreasures108.com. If you have interests in uh, events that you would like to see posted on YouTube, readings done on YouTube, you can either comment below or you can go to my website and connect with me through the connection contact section. Um, my booking site is not quite working right, so I'm having a sale. If you'd like 3 questions answered by email, you can go to my website, check that out, and send me 3 questions. I usually answer within 48 hours, if not sooner. Um, thank you for joining me. Look again closer to the election when I follow up on this and see if the energies have changed. May you be blessed, and through you, may the world be blessed.